Thanks very much, Michele. He got the title right anyway, fair play to him. He has it written down. Michele and Paul and Cathaoirleach and Mayor and deputies, Anne and Pat and councillors and ladies and gentlemen and families, because there's a great family presence here, and friends of Blacknight. I just want to say that I'm absolutely delighted to be here today in joining with you in celebrating, what is an absolutely amazing milestone in terms of this entity and all that it means. And I speak to you as somebody who hails from the county of Cork, but I am a Mallow man, and there is much that I would have in common with the people of Carlow, given our shared histories from, we'll say, an industrial point of view. If you look at Mallow Sugar Factory, Carlow Sugar Factory, Aaron Foods, and what was, two very traditional towns that sustained thousands of jobs with rural hinterland. For me, to be here today in Blacknight Internet Solutions, in what I can describe as a state-of-the-art data centre, is an absolute testament to the people of this region and to the vision, of Paul and Michele and their families and everybody who is associated with this entity. Because it's been an education for me so far to be here today, because what it shows me is that there is potential for data centres of this nature outside of the larger urban conurbations. And what I can see is a massive pool of skills that's available here in the Carlow region that is utilised to create this entity. And I'm amazed that you've used local contractors, local people coming in to work here, and it's all happening outside of Dublin, if you will. Now, that's not to say that as a Cork man, we look at Dublin as, as some great entity up there. I have a strong sense that we need to disrupt the current thinking in this country that says that most foreign direct investment has to come into the larger urban centres, where there is a perception that the skills pools exist in those centres, when clearly what Blacknight shows is that there's a massive talent pool in this region, and that like towns like Mallow and Carlow, there is a reinvention or a renaissance, if you will, going on, where local people are coming together and committing to create jobs in their own regions, drawing from an excellent skill set. And that's something that is an important takeaway for myself as a Minister for Research and Innovation. I have to say, fair play to Michele, because he's a Corkman, as you know, and he has staked out his little claim of Carlow, and I want to congratulate him and Paul, because two exceptional guys with a very strong vision. And if you look at some of the metrics, 70,000 direct clients, 70,000. Now that's globally. 222,000 websites, 130 countries, all from, managed by everybody, the people that you see here before you in this room. I think that's a phenomenal metric by any standard. And I think that's something that we in government need to, interrogate, if you will. We need to see how we can support it. We need to see how we can replicate it. Because if you look at the potential for data centres, if you look at the exponential increase in data, if you look at the opportunities in relation to data analytics, Blacknight are clearly right to the forefront of that. And not too long ago, as Minister for Research, I announced an €88 million package with my colleague Minister Bruton, where we were going to set up a Science Foundation Ireland Data Analytics Centre. We were bringing in, 5 institutions, NUI Galway, DCU to name but 2 of those. We're looking now at partnering with over 30 partners in the area of data analytics and data management. And what I would say, if there's one message that I have to give here today, is that I would love to see Blacknight partnering with that entity, because I believe that there is much that that entity called Insight could learn from, people such as yourselves in this room. And I think the more SMEs like Blacknight that we have partnering with the big, research centres, especially when you're bringing, world-class expertise to that, I think the more then that we can help sustain jobs in regions like Carlow, but also grow more jobs and see what further opportunities are there as the world exponentially grows the amount of data that we're growing. I'm only at the terabytes level. I don't know, I think we're moving into the petabytes, and I think we're moving beyond that even still, to the exabytes, okay? So if we're moving into that terrain, then I think that Ireland and companies like Blacknight need to be at the forefront of that. And clearly what I've seen today, I've seen clear evidence that is where you guys are. And it's really exciting. I can tell you this, it is really exciting to come down, or to come up from Cork, to see this in operation, because I speak to Michaela on a regular basis. I know his mum Tina very well, an exceptional lady, and he keeps the fire lit under my toes in relation to what the government is doing in this space. But coming here today and witnessing it for myself, I can see now where the potential is and where the potential lies. So I'm absolutely delighted to be here. I think the metrics speak for themselves in terms of the operation here. I think it is our job, working with our parliamentary colleagues, Anne and Pat and the mayors and Cathaoirleach, to try and work together, in government to see how we can provide greater supports for companies like Blacknight. But I think what you have here is a real gem. That is not to plough moss, or without any hint of verbosity do I say that. It is an exceptional facility. The only other facility I've seen of this nature is the TSSG facility, which is, as you know, down in Waterford Institute of Technology. And I think there's a massive opportunity for regions such as this to explore further opportunities in the data centre space. Because I'd love to disrupt, the current paradigm that exists, that, all these data centres have to be located in larger urban conurbations. Because the conditions here, the cost base here is much cheaper, and I think there's a message there for IDA, and there's a message for EI, and I'm going to go back to those guys today, following today's meeting, to see if we can explore further opportunities in this area. If we can start locating data centres and tacking on, companies like Blacknight into that, I think, it will really disrupt the current landscape that exists. So today for me is educational, it really is, and I'm delighted that you asked me to come here to open or assist you in celebrating this, because I think you've been underway for well over 10 years, and when we consider the growth trajectory, and when you look at the metrics that I spoke about, 70,000 direct clients, that's only going to grow and grow. And the 20 bays that we spoke about earlier on, Paul, that's going to increase, it's going to double and maybe treble again, and you've made capacity for that. So I think this is an important story for Carlow. And the reason I mentioned, the sugar industry and air and foods is because towns like Carlow, towns like Mallow, we have to reinvent ourselves. And this is the renaissance, this is the reinvention that is vital to sustain regions such as Carlow. And that's why I think, for me, I look forward to going back and talking to my colleagues in government, about Blacknight, because I think everybody, if they can, should come down here. I'd certainly be talking to Richard Bruton about this, because if we can disrupt the current thinking, I think it will give greater potential to entities such as Blacknight. But it's an excellent company, and, I just think the technologies that you've employed here in terms of free cooling, and I love the fact that you have used local suppliers, local contractors who of themselves have excellent skill sets as well, because that is an amazing story to tell. So thank you for this opportunity. I wish you well. It's great to see that there is such a family connection to this business. That is the hallmark, to my mind, of most Irish SMEs. There is a sense sometimes in which we talk about foreign direct investment and its importance, but what we have here is a wonderful indigenous example. It is the new indigenous industry, if you will, and it's happening here in Carlow, and it's great to be part of it. I should say, make specific reference to Great Cullen, because I know it is a little republic apart from what I hear, and we know all about republics in Cork. So thank you very much, and I wish you well for the years ahead, and thank you for your time.